Today I'd like to discuss something that's been brewing on my chest for a while. This is something I like to call the Ray Lewis versus Michael Vick argument. Basically, Michael Vick's back in the news. He's having the greatest year of his NFL career. And he's also taking a lot of scrutiny because he's coming off a prison sentence at Leavenworth for his dogfighting issue. Now, hopefully maybe I'm not going to change people's opinions of the people that view this, but maybe make you think a little bit about the whole situation. Because personally, I think Michael Vick was guilty of a circumstance of something that I feel is wrong with our judicial system, which is basically how we allow criminals to still be criminals so that we can take somebody else down. Basically, if you remember anything about the case when it happened, basically the FBI told Arthur Blank and the NFL that they had been scouting out this house for 6 months because they thought it was a drug house, that they had never seen Michael Vick on the property, and that there was no trouble there. So basically, because at the time, if you remember sports-wise, the Falcons were about to trade Matt Schaub. Arthur Blank wanted to find out what was going on. You know, that's what the FBI has said. So basically, trade a Schaub, etc., etc. Now, then next thing you know, the whirlwind of events happen, and basically Michael Vick's taking a plea bargain. Now, if you look at the plea bargain, if you remember at the time, there was a lot of things that were held up in that plea bargain from happening, which mainly was the fact of the killing of dogs. Michael Vick didn't want to admit to the killing of dogs, which basically, I mean, he probably knew what was happening, but basically the FBI had stated earlier they never seen Michael Vick on the property. Michael Vick didn't want to admit the killing of the dogs, so basically, you know, I'm kind of assuming Michael Vick didn't have a hand in it, but in order to get the plea bargain, because basically the feds had him by the balls, he had to admit to the killing of the dogs. Now, am I naive enough to think he wasn't involved at all? Sure, he was involved. That's the whole reason that everything happened, is because, I mean, if you look at the crime that really put him in prison, was the bankrolling of the dogfighting business, which basically, cut to the chase, is the government wasn't getting their money, so he had to suffer. Had nothing to do with the killing of the dogs. I think that was just the DA wanted the extra embarrassment to Michael Vick to admit to killing them dogs because they wanted him for the bankrolling of the business. Now, why I say this argument? Okay. People hate Michael Vick right now. A lot of people do. A lot of people have forgiven him, which is why the country is great. But a lot of people hate Mr. Vick. Now, because of the events of what happened. Okay, he's this, and this. But it's funny how the world works, because he's a horrible man, and he doesn't deserve a second chance, and this, and this. But when I turn on my TV and I see commercials on, I see Ray Lewis riding this little Raven with his little suds on, talking about Old Spice swagger, man, want to be me, animals want to learn to talk so they can talk to me. I see, you know, all these NFL stories talking about Ray Lewis, the face of the NFL, this, and this. But it's kind of funny to me, and maybe it's because I remember the story a little more because, you know, us here in the Northeast Ohio area, we hate the Ravens a little more than most people. But it's funny to me that Mr. Ray Lewis, not that long ago, and I'm not trying to conjure stuff up, so I apologize if he ever comes across this. I'm not trying to hurt your feelings, Ray. I'm not trying to conjure up bad memories. I'm not trying to conjure up bad memories for anybody involved. But I just want people to think about just the weirdness I feel about situations. Okay, Mr. Ray Lewis was involved in a double murder. Okay, Super Bowl weekend. Now, when all this happened, the NFL ponied up their lawyers. The Ravens ponied up their lawyers. They got the best lawyers money could buy to help Ray Lewis out. When Michael Vick got in trouble, hey, you on your own, buddy. We turning our back on you. You know what I'm saying? So basically, these lawyers helped Ray Lewis get a plea bargain of obstruction of justice. Which obstruction of justice means to me is either he decided to drop dimes on the guys that killed the guys, and he was there and he knew it, or he didn't want to drop dimes and he tried to cover up and help these guys cover up the murders. Now, why I say it bruised so close to my chest is I didn't know the guys, but these guys were from Ohio. They were from Akron, Ohio, which, you know what I'm saying, is I've lived at, you know, for years of my life. I worked at, you know what I'm saying? So, and I was actually, you know, working at when this crime happened. So basically, I just find it, I guess, a little puzzling to me that Michael Vick continues to be in all this scrutiny for the dogfighting, which isn't right. I'm not saying what Michael Vick did was right. It's not right at all. I still don't believe he personally killed these dogs because of what I know following the case as a longtime fan of Mr. Vick's. But I don't understand, on one hand, how Michael Vick can be so villainized, but then you have Ray Lewis, who years ago, as an NFL player, was involved in a double murder and is on my TV all the time as the face of the NFL and as the face of Old Spice. And I'm not saying that human life is more important than dog life, but lives are lives, and why should one man crimes be totally forgotten while another man is still scrutinized every day of his life? Just think about that. Think about that, YouTube. Think about that for a little bit. Ponder it. If you're not a Michael Vick fan, I'm not trying to convert you into a Michael Vick fan. You know, neither man, you know, both men had to suffer with, and I'm not trying to conjure up bad memories for Mr. Ray Lewis, but think about the hypocrisy of America when you think about that. Remember that while that Old Spice commercial is rolling. That if you hate Mike Vick, you shouldn't be watching that Old Spice commercial either, because that's a murderer too. Or involved alleged double murder. Thank you.